Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Our concluding moments, taking a look at the reports of the panel, the Kaduna Judicial Commission of Inquiry. But looking at this, we know that yes, the first time out when the COAS turned back, many said, look, that was a fantastic move of professionalism, of maturity, and they just thought, look, it was a matter of time. People were going to jump on the back of that Shiite group and say, look, what in the world do you people think you're doing? But going back there the second day, they just thought, no. That's what happened. That's
exactly what we're saying. Look at it from my own position now, as I told you, from the sideline, trying to just be dispassionate. Let's profile the Shia. The Shia are one very, very recalcitrant group. The leader, Yaqub, is El Zakzaki, but I know him by his personal names. Born 5th May, and went to ABU Zaria. Right from his days as a student, he was quite a handful. He's a first-class economic graduate. The school denied him that degree. Now, ABU Zaria, if you know them, they are actually a center of academic radicalism. The ABU Zaria we knew when we were growing up. Now, if a center of academic radicalism can actually deny you, it means probably you were mega extremely radical. He came out from there sometime in 79. Something happened out there in Iran. The monarchy was, removed. Ayatollah Khomeini was installed. And from there, he got ideas that he could actually replicate that here. That's nothing wrong with that. You can decide to replicate whatever, but you won't force anyone into it. From then to this day, if you profile the Shia, anytime they come out, one of two prevails: on easy peace, or at best, apprehension, or at best on easy peace. They are known to be a religious movement that is actually tending more towards volatility than tranquility.
But if they violate the law, they can be arrested.
Absolutely.
So why didn't we look at that option?
We look at that option, but I tell you something, as I said, about religion and ethnicity in this country. They have become embarrassments. When people come out beating their chests, just hide what you have done under religion, and you find them withdrawing with their tails in between their legs.
Some will actually think that you're justifying these killings.
I'm not justifying these killings.
Why would the army?
I'm actually holding out a whip to both sides. Let me give you a profile of the army too. Our army is known to be bullish. They're working on that. Our army actually has this tendency to come back at you if you did something wrong. Let me give you an example. We've seen an entire police barracks burnt in Lagos. Why? Because two soldiers had altercation with a policeman. And the next thing, troops came out singing, marching, went in there and just raised it down. What have we done about that?
Do you think that they're in tune with democracy?
They are not in tune with democracy, but what if it's acculturated to the people in the democracy?
But there's still rule of law.
There's rule of law, so what?
Not rule of force.
Let me tell you something. It's one thing to declare a democracy, and it's another thing to be a democracy. Democracy is not a verbal thing. Democracy is a way of life. Democracy is an attitude.
So in this case now, who is not being democratic?
All of us. We're talking democracy. Go out onto the streets, see how people drive, and tell me this is a democracy. See what the house, the exalted chambers where our laws are made. Tell me this is a democracy. If we want to practice democracy, people, let's practice democracy. If we don't want to practice democracy, people, then let's live with what we're practicing.
So the army going back there to carry out...
Unacceptable. But then, democracies are meant to be hallmarks of what? People excellence, cultural excellence, organizational excellence. If you want to set something that will look like a democratic result, you cannot shy away from all those things I've told you. This for me is an opportunity for law enforcement to fine-tune, an opportunity for a lot of things to be done. You are actually talking about people who were killed. Yes, we know they were killed. But do you know that if those corpses were exhumed and you found people who didn't die of bullet wounds, even one, there will be doubts? Let me tell you something from my small experience as a soldier. You could actually have a bullet wound and you are taken to our surgeons, and the cause of death is not the bullet wound. Yes, he walked in here and shot you, and the cause of death was not a bullet wound. There are technologies, there are specialties for actually determining that.
Okay,
these are opportunities for us to begin to imbibe those.
Okay, Mark would like to ask a question. Mark, go ahead.
Well, you know, if you talk about, you know, direct and indirect causes, some people will say that the army will still be held culpable. So, for instance, if in the process of hearing bullet shots going out and people died of shock and do not have bullet wounds on them, can the army actually exonerate or extricate itself from that scenario?
If you call a medic, he will tell you cause of death was probably heart failure. Bullet, whether gunshot-induced heart failure, whatever. But that which caused death was heart failure. I had a coursemate, unfortunately he passed on, he was shot. But actually what caused him to die was suffocation. Is it asphyxia, the doctors call it? I remember it on the report. Because somewhere along the line, the bleeding flooded his lungs.
Okay. Let's wind down with this one, because I've heard you talk about approach that the military can use when we're discussing something about the Boko Haram. Soft approach, you know, going with certain messages. They have all these tools. They could even use it against the Shiite group, because if they think at that time if you use force it will amount to this number of people dying, because killing this amount of people doesn't stop that ideology, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. It exacerbates it. And that is why I'm telling you that when you approach the scenario on ground, you have to profile both entities. And if you profile both entities, you're going to discover that both are bullish, both are ego-laden. Now, what's actually the aim of that committee that is stuck in between this imbroglio? It's peace. It's peace. How can we use this as a learning point? How can we, going forward, ensure never again? And when you have both parties coming to the table, or one party not even coming at all, how do we broker peace? People cannot invite you to peace talks, and you say, no, we're not going to go because this one has a low court and the other one carries a bed.
No, but if the government hadn't held the leader, if it had, you know, made them available for that, do you think he would have refused showing up?
Let me ask you a question. If the government had actually produced that leader and he said he doesn't want to appear,
then that would be a different case.
Beautiful. Now,
but that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. But an invitation was extended to the group. And they said, we are not coming because of XYZ. That's also okay. You really have what we call willpower. Now, having said you were not going to appear, the report is tendered, you said you don't recognize it, that's also okay. What I'm saying is, you don't eat your cake, then complain you don't have it. And you don't have your cake and complain you can't eat it.
So in other words, this report hasn't solved the problem.
It hasn't solved the problem. The real thing that is going to solve the problem is, hey guys, hands down, come to the middle. And each of them will get a whipping. Let's face it, each of them will get a whipping. There are no sacred cows. Not the army.
Isn't that what the report tried to do?
What the report has tried to do, I'm telling you, from the beginning, since one side didn't show up, can be kicked against. The army can come up tomorrow and say, hey, you're talking about this when this person didn't show up, not even a rep. Right from the beginning, they said they don't even recognize your panel. So how come the process, how do you want to apply justice on their own side for what they didn't. So we are going to take our own whipping. How do they take their own when they don't even recognize you? Look, this is a potpourri of what? Scandal.
Well, that's all, Anchor. Always a pleasure to have you on, Captain Aliyu Umar, security consultant. We'll be back in a moment. We also have another security matter on our table in a moment, so don't go away.